Okay, welcome to the Grubcast. We've talked about this before, and as of late, we've been out and about looking for Mexican food. Coming from a family of full of Mexican people who are making awesome food, we're always looking for somebody who's got something awesome. We were talking earlier about the puesto we talked about. We talked about Los Charros in Escondido. Recently, we ran across a new spot in Del Mar Heights, of all places, in a really cool community where they have a bunch of new condos and shops right there off of, what is it, Del Mar Heights Road, or is it Carmel Valley?
Del Mar Highlands.
Yeah. I was totally taken aback when I saw this place. Completely in a upscale area, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I wanted to review it because it looked cool.
From the outside, it looks really nice. All the cactus. It looks inviting,
Yeah.
You
Very
really want to
inviting.
go sit down on the patio and have yourself a little margarita.
And I figured, okay, you know what we're gonna get here? Americanized Mexican food.
Yeah.
So I figured.
That's what we assumed.
Assumed immediately. I said the place is really nice. It's got to be what, $1 billion to rent that place a month, about.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it's just gonna be Taco Bell in a nice restaurant. We were blown away. Totally different than I expected. And you know what? Well, you're saying, Well, you know what? I think it's different than that. I enjoyed the food immensely. I did. And was it something that your abuelita makes, or something that Tia Rosa makes in Guanajuato? No. But was it completely better than I expected? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you get into this place. It's right there across from a Michi's, which is another Italian place we wanted to do a review on. There's a bunch of new shops in there and condos.
There's more food down the way as well. There's a
There's
Mediterranean place.
Sure. There's Luna Grill.
A pizza place. Yeah.
And it's like there's nothing else around. This is completely far-fetched from everything. The closest thing is the 56 freeway. And you can go, obviously you can go east.
Yeah.
You can go west out to the 5 and hit down to Del Mar or whatever. Yeah. But this is in a place amongst a bunch of homes and condos. Mm-hmm. But I tell you this: if you're looking for upscale spot to sit and relax, nice bar, you can actually walk from this place in this big shopping center. You can walk to a bunch of other places for dessert, a coffee house, maybe a stroll right in there, do some shopping. There's a bunch of stores, like ladies' clothing stores and a yoga spot, And if you're driving down the 15, you go, where are we going? We're on the way to San Diego. You can certainly stop in here. Absolutely. Is it like a puesto? Is it on the caliber of puesto? No. Is it is it the
I
same?
think it's just different. I mean, if people would say, "Oh yeah, it's an upscale type of Mexican," probably at that caliber of puesto. It's just you just gotta like that food. Now we didn't have everything. We went there during happy hour, which I was
made all the sense
really
in the world.
Happy about, yeah. Because if you aren't going there for happy hour, it's a little pricey as far as Mexican food goes. And we didn't, eat off of the main menu. Now, we also understood that they were having their soft opening today. Oh, yeah, today. So, things could change.
And today is Monday the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird day to actually do an opening. Really.
A little bit.
But, look, the bar's in the middle. It's a nice location. There's lots of businesses around this area. It's obviously this area is upscale and thriving. And I would go back again. I'm going for happy hour 100%.
Well, I'd go back if I was in the area. Yeah, absolutely. If you live in that area, this is a great place for you guys to go.
If you're cutting across 56
to
go out to San
56,
Diego.
mm-hmm.
You're on the way to Del Mar.
Yeah.
You're in the dire need of a margarita and some Mexican food.
Yeah.
You definitely want to go here.
Yeah, we were surprised. We had the sopes, and we had guacamole. We had
now let me talk about
ceviche.
Let me talk about that guacamole for a minute, okay? The presentation was on par with anything I've ever seen. They served it in a molcajete, which is oftentimes it's the mortar and pestle of the Mexican world,
mm-hmm.
and that's a nice touch right off the bat. They also now let's talk about the quality of guacamole. Now, guacamole to a lot of people is just you just smash up some avocado and you just get busy, throw some lemon in there, a little salt and pepper, maybe a little bit onion, tomato. Okay, but to me, I've been around it a long time, tried many places, and I think you can ruin guacamole. You can again mess up the balance between the amount of the amount of avocado and all the other stuff. Too much cilantro. Too much onion, too much tomato. You can definitely throw it out of whack. They didn't. They hit it so on the spot. I'm still thinking about the soft, tender chunks of avocado. The flavor of the guacamole, rather than flavors of tomato and onion and avocado. It was primarily avocado. A big bowl of delicious, tender, sweet, creamy, super creamy. I can actually think of these little chunks. These little chunks that were in there I can think about it now. It was like, I don't want to overdo it and say, well, it was like nothing I've ever tasted before, but it was. But the avocados were so ripe. They were so ripe and so perfect. They held their shape, and man, they were so good. Okay, so they brought in the molcajete. They put the avocado in the middle. They typically they made it was nice though the way they plated it too. They took the in-house homemade corn chips, not the ones from a bag, not ones made down the street, the kind you make at home. The one those thick tortillas. Some were stuck together. They were crisp and oily like they're supposed to be at home. Not the kind they get in the bag.
Right.
They're dry and no artist. No,
these were warm and just fresh.
Like you just took a bunch of tortillas, cut them up in squares, and threw them in the fryer. Oh, good Lord. Lovely. Okay. And then they made a little star shape out of it. Like a star, like a sunflower in the molcajete. Yeah. Now, typically they say, well, we put a bunch of chorizo. Chorizo, like they take the chorizo meat, they pull it out of the casing, and they, you cook it up, and it turns into like ground beef. Okay. They typically put it on top. The guy said, hey, you want to put it on the side? You can put it on the side. We jumped at the chance to put it on the side. We've turned into Meg Ryan from Harry Met Sally. We have on the side. Everything's on the side. Okay. If it's a sauce, if it's something that's going to dominate the flavor of everything, on the side. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, totally.
Totally glad we did. They served it in a little small plate. It wasn't actually small. It was a pretty good quantity of chorizo.
Yeah.
And it was in this side bowl. And it was really a great thing to be able to taste that delicious guacamole by itself, and then occasionally spoon on just a little touch of that spicy, meaty chorizo topping right on there.
Yeah,
incredible.
And
now,
I don't even typically like chorizo, so I was very pleasantly surprised.
I was very, very, very happy. Okay, yeah. And they okay now. I'm a big fan of sopes. We saw them on the menu. We're like, sopes. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. But you know what? They did it. They did it. They did carnitas, sopes.
Yeah, that's what we have. They have carnitas. They have chicken. They have something else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably have some other.
Carne
But
asada,
okay. But I'm a big fan of carnitas, and the more I eat Mexican food, the more fan I am. And I'm a distinguished carnitas expert now. Okay. Because it's confit. It's a twice cooked pork, and if you do it right, it has this little crusty cooked brown edge to it, and if it's done right, it's tender and moist in the middle, and that combination is just magic. Okay, so they did it incredible. They made sopes. They say they make the little sope itself, the corn meal. They take they make the little round tortilla, whatever. They make that in house. Was it as good as Tia Rosa in Guanajuato? It wasn't.
Yeah, our kids said, "Oh, these are really good."
But they're not like Tia Rosas. But you know what? Nothing is.
But they said these were good.
They were good. Okay, and they had was it nacotija? They had the queso fresco on top, little crumbles of it, and the carnitas, and a little bit of shreddings of cabbage, and a little tomato. And I'm telling you right now, I got maybe 2 bites. I think I got 2 bites.
I got 1.
Damn, I was jealous. Okay, because you know what? I do tend to oftentimes indulge my children, and I saw my eldest son was eyeballing them, and he gobbled. So we took one off the plate, and then the other one sat there, and then he grabbed for it. And I was like, okay, you take that and you enjoy that. Okay. Because there was 2, right? And everybody seemed to be, focusing on something else. So I saw the other one. I grabbed the soap and I took a bite and I was like, damn. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then set it down, thinking to myself, okay, I'll get, people can be busy with some other stuff because we ordered 4 or 5 dishes. I really got 2 bites and then it was gone. Just gone. So I said, I heard the words out of my mouth. Son, go ahead. Are you hungry? Go ahead and eat that. Boom. He was like, didn't even ask a question. Like, are you sure, Dad? No. Mm-mm. He just gobbled it down. Looked me in the eye. I was like very happy. Wiped his chin. Oh my God, it was awful. Okay, so you got to go in for those. Sopes, they give you plenty of meat, plenty of toppings. It's marvelous.
Yeah. They're filling with black beans. So yummy.
Yeah, so good. Okay, so if you want a Mexican endorsement, I'm gonna tell you that. Oof. Okay, now the house salsa, the one they serve with the corn chips. Again, big basket of these in-house homemade style corn chips, and this in-house sweet fresh tomato salsa with a little bit of roasted pepper in it. Yeah, it was delicious. Oh man, I could have been.
Kids loved it. But even our kids were like, it could be a little spicier. And so we mentioned that, and our server, who's super nice, what's his name? Brian?
Yeah.
He also said the same thing. He said, yeah, they had it a little spicier, but people can't take it. So
yeah. Okay.
I think it's the clientele in the area.
I get it. Well, you gotta meet everybody's needs.
Right.
Okay. But I want to say Brian's. Speaking of Brian, let me say something about Brian. Okay. So we were kind of deciding where to go. My son had played a tennis match. We were kind of like thinking, okay, we'll have an early dinner. There was Amici's across the street. There was another place called Westbrook down the road. There was Luna Grill. But I looked in there. I was like, it's a fast food joint, right? So we want to sit down. So you stopped in. I was down the way and within walking distance because I went to the Starbucks and whatever. Yeah. So you were down the way. You stopped in at the spot. And you talked to them and asked questions. Cool. And you were like, yeah, let's do this. Happy hours here. Boom. But I was like, well, what about Amici's? What about this? What about that? Okay. You were like, no, right here. Okay. So you were all buzzed about it, ready to go. And I get down there and I go into the place and there's a different guy there, a guy that's a younger guy.
That's true.
And he was maybe the GM, maybe the manager. And I said, hey, I'm here. What's on the menu? What do you think? And there was nobody in the place. It was probably right before their rush.
It was at
4:30 or something, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was by myself and I said, hey, I'm interested in, food. Tell me, I've never been here before. What should I have? And it was kind of like, he was like, I guess he was busy, but this is a customer service business.
Honestly, if he was busy, I don't know why he would be busy when there was virtually nobody there.
Yeah, he was preparing for the rush, I guess. But I'm gonna give him some slack. But you know what though? It was kind of like he was put off by me. Like, hey, I'm busy. So I was like,
he seemed dismissive.
Okay. All right. But I was like, hey, listen, I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me any. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. You're busy. So I was reading through the menu. And okay, so it was decided that we're going to go. Oh, sit down. So my intention was to go in, have a drink, get a lemonade for the boys, and maybe try the margarita. And since there was nobody in there, I figured I'd ask a bunch of questions. Ask this, what have you been doing here? Where does this come from? So forth and so on. So the guy that I talked to sits us down at the table. And I say to the guy, I said, hey, and being that there's nobody in there, there's maybe a server sitting there at the bar eating his lunch. There's another lady in the bar sitting in the center of the bar, kind of preparing the mise en place and drinks, cutting the lemons or whatever. And there's your guy that you talked to originally, Latino. And then there's the manager, right? So the manager sits us down at the table. And I say, hey, and he's kind of milling about, kind of moving tables and checking everything. And I say, hey, you know what? Can I get a couple of, let me just get a couple of margaritas, because I knew you're going to want one. You love margaritas. I love them too. I was kind of parched. Let's have one. And he says, your server will be by here in a minute. And I was like, that's interesting. So he leaves, walks right past the guy that ended up being our server. And he says, and I'm thinking, okay, well.
And never mentioned to him he wants some margaritas.
Never said, hey, they're the only ones in the building, in the room. Maybe go pay attention to those people sitting there. So I was like, okay. And then now he piqued my interest because I'm like, that was not the way to handle it. That was my mind. So I expected him to go run over to the server and say, he was sitting past him. It wasn't. He isn't. We had to run a football field to get to this guy. He was right there. I figured, okay. He said, "Hey, they want a drink. Go ahead, go get him. Help him out." Instead, he proceeds to go on the other side of the restaurant, and he's fixing tables, doing his thing, and never mentions to the server that we're there. So now, 1 minute, 2 minute passes, and I'm watching the guy that's eating his lunch talk to the one lady that's behind the bar. I don't even know your guy yet. I'm like, okay. But 1 minute, 3 minutes pass. And I'm watching all that's going on. I'm not seeing the urgency of like, hey, we have customers. Let's go. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of, okay. This is, hey, note to self, service sucks here. Yeah. Right? So next thing you know, the guy that ended up being our server,
he says, "Oh, you came back."
Well, no, yeah, he says to you, and then he's like, he goes over to the lady in the bar, and he kind of gives the chin, like, lifts his chin towards us, like, "Hey, there's people there," And the girl looks it up. I can see her. I'm watching very, very intently. She looks up and she goes. She has that stupid smile, like, like yeah, in a minute, like that. I was like, good Lord, okay. Note to self: the service sucks. So between the lady, the manager, I'm like, okay, this is gonna go bad, right? So next thing you know, this guy that you dealt with, who you liked immediately when you met him the first time,
because he greeted me at the door.
Mm-hmm. He was all like very, hey, come on, customer service oriented. He was like, what are we doing? Blah blah blah, blah, asking questions. So the guy that tried to mention to the girl that we're there, he ended up being our server. He comes over the table and he's like, have they helped you yet?
He says, have they given you menus?
Have they given you menus? Nope, no menus. Okay. But this is now a 4 minute count, because I'm now, because at the moment the guy said, your server will be with you in a minute. When I asked him for drinks and didn't mention to the server that we were there, I watched the sequence of events, right? And our server ended up being a star. Mm-hmm. Okay. This guy was informative. He was asking questions about what we wanted, what we were doing. Hey, have you been here before? Try this, try that. What should we eat? Da da da. Blah blah blah. Okay, so Brian, you were a superstar. If you're listening to this show, you are a superstar. Okay, and you made our experience what it was. Absolutely. Yeah, without you, this review would be very, very different, because we probably would have not had a chance to taste the foods we tasted. Okay, so immediately from the get-go, I was like, this food's gonna suck. Okay, and this place, because as talking to Brian's saying, oh yeah, we've only been here a month, and the place before us closed after 2 months, because the rent isn't cheap there. I have to imagine the rent has got to be a bajillion dollars, yeah. And they have to cover their expenses. That's why the prices are what they are. So I get it. Now, if you're living in the neighborhood, you live in the condos just over, you live houses, those beautiful homes just there. This is a place that you don't want to drive 30 minutes to go to San Diego, 40 minutes to San Diego. You don't want to drive to North County. You don't want to drive anywhere. You want to be right in your neighborhood. Well, this is the place for you, because there's about 3 or 4 upscale restaurants within 100 feet, 100 yards. There's in a yoga spot and a gym and all this other stuff. Yogurt shop. Okay. So this is your local spot. But I'll tell you right now, if I had left it to those first 2 people, I would have walked out.
Right.
Hands down.
Yeah, you were mentioning, even Brian mentioned, the biggest complaint has been the service, because we mentioned to him,
And then, so
thank goodness for you, because we would have left.
So Brian, you're a superstar. Look for a job elsewhere. I don't know how that's going to go.
No,
I don't know how it's going to go. I want to say this to you.
They need him there.
Whatever you need. You are the anchor to that joint right now. If not for you, this review would have been horrible. So, you obviously suggested a few dishes to us. You had suggested the guacamole, okay, which ended up being a superstar. You had recommended the what else was it? I'm sorry.
We had ceviche. Now that's the only thing I can say. Let
me say this to you. Ceviche takes a bit of time. Mm-hmm. You make a nice marinade, right. The juices and the onion, the tomato, whatever, cilantro, you can put it in there, and you need to let it sit. Now, proteins are proteins, right? White fish tends to absorb it faster. Okay, to me, something like a shrimp especially a frozen shrimp, and I'm not suggesting that they use frozen shrimp, but shrimp,
Who knows?
because of what it is, it tends to take a little more time for that citrus to go in there, the seasoning to go in there. Okay, so in my opinion, the flavors were right, but it wasn't potent enough. That's my opinion. Now, the reason why I say this is because I had the ceviche with the chips, those awesome in-house corn chips, and it was like I was wanting something, okay? But if I had the ceviche by itself, which I did, I tasted the meat and the juice and everything by itself. It was delicious, but it wasn't very intense. The flavors weren't as strong as they should be to me. So,
but I think because they had too much shrimp, the balance was off.
Okay,
there was not enough.
I'll take
fish.
I'll say that. I'll go along with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think because there wasn't any fish and it was mostly shrimp. Yeah,
I'll go along with you.
It was just not intense. So.
I'll go along with you. So, but you know what? You had the right idea. Now, here's another thing I liked about it. They have a little window where I was sitting. There's a window into the kitchen, and guess who was there? Latino. Okay, the guy behind the kitchen was a Latino who makes Mexican food. Well, all right, wonderful. You're going to have been growing up with this your entire life, and you're going to know something about it. Awesome. Well, you did a good job. Okay, so let's say from the guacamole presentation, awesome. With the chorizo, that was a new experience for me. And you know what? I was talking to Brian, and I was saying to Brian, "Hey, look, this I like the fact that you put it on the side." He was like, "Well, typically we put it on top, right?" Now, if you apply the principle of balance, as I always talk about in every show, if you put all that meat that they had on there on top of this beautiful guacamole, he says, "Well, I typically do. I take a spoon and I just stir it in." Ooh, I don't know if that would have gone well. It would have changed the whole thing.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't have gone well for you. So, yeah, that's just
Well,
your opinion. But I totally agree with you.
This show is my opinion.
Yeah, and
So-
I agree with you in that aspect 100%.
Yeah.
I like it to be
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
And we will add what we want and
Yeah.
make
So
make it the way we want. So, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Now, I'm so glad that we did that
Mm-hmm.
because it would have been a different experience. Okay?
Probably.
So, ceviche needs a little work for me.
Yeah. Use more fish, please.
Guacamole and chips, great presentation, fantastic flavors. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The sopes, jeez. Oof. They're like going to Tia Rosa's house without going to Tia Rosa's house. Okay? Without a plane ride. Okay? And then we had something else, didn't we?
Yes. Which wasn't my favorite, but it can be.
What was it?
It was dessert. We
Oh,
ordered,
that's all we had?
yeah,
Okay.
that was it. We had churros.
Now, wait.
Because
Okay.
our kids wanted a dessert.
All right. So here's the deal. I'm a huge fan of churro. Okay. Now, if you go to Costco, there's no Latinos there at Costco. Okay. And what it is I think it's pot of shoes. If you're talking about the French version of what the dough is, I've made them, right? It's, you extrude it. It comes in that kind of star shape, and then you roll it in cinnamon and sugar. Okay. Now, the ones at Costco, the kids loved them because they're big, and you get these churro. They're in a foil.
They have sugar and cinnamon.
Sugar and
They're
cinnamon.
gonna like
What's not to like, right? But if you go to Tijuana, you go to Mexico. I've had them. They're crispy and they're brown. The ones at Costco, they're kind of, you can tell they're it's kind of quantity versus quality, right? So I will say this to you. You nailed the churro itself. Nailed it. They brought, okay, so we asked for churro. They were $9.
No, it's like $10.
$10.
Way too much.
$10, but they bring you, I think it's probably the equivalent of one long churro or two medium-sized churro.
Yeah, 2.
And they cut them in little
Like
5-inch
4 or 5
sticks,
inch, yeah.
and they cross them on a plate, and they put these little sauces, like a puree of strawberry, a little bit of like a fudge or a chocolate sauce, and they try to decorate the plate. Now, okay, look, if you go to Tijuana, you go to Mexico, and you get a churro from Mexico, they make it in a little machine, they make it in a little cart, it's in a little fryer, and it came out amazing. They were warm, they were cinnamony, they were crispy on the outside and doughy in the middle. They were lovely. Unfortunately, what they did is they took them and the way they plated them and presented them, it was completely wrong. Okay, so what had happened, and now we didn't ask for this. They took the plate, they cut the churro, and they tried to make it special. And half of the churro they left alone, which is fortunate, and the other half they filled them full of the strawberry puree, a sweet kind of funky strawberry puree. Now, if you are this awesome fan of strawberry puree, this particular one, then you love them. But if you want just churro and you want to eat the delicious fried crispy churro, it ruined it. It completely ruined it. And it did, because unfortunately all you tasted was the puree. It overpowered the flavor of the churro and the cinnamon and the sugar. It just overpowered the breadiness. It was too much. There was too much sauce and not enough bread. So I would say this, and I suggested this. Okay, when you display the beautiful fish, or you display a beautiful filet mignon, you just want to cook it gently and season it. And then you want to add a little sauce on the side, your mastery of your beautiful sauce, if you're going to do it, a jus, a cream sauce, a tartar sauce, a barbecue, whatever you're going to do, just put it on the side so that I can enjoy the meat or the fish, or in this case, churro, by itself for what it is. The beauty of the art you've made. You've made the art. The art is perfect. Don't screw with it, okay? But if you want to add the puree, you want to make it exciting, put it on the side so that I can decide how much sauce I want and when, right?
Or simply on the menu, let people know
Just
that you're going to have more than one kind of churro.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Would you like strawberry churro? Would you like chocolate-filled churro? Mm-hmm. And that's my option. But if you're going to say it's churros don't have that stuff in the middle. Mm-hmm. They don't.
And so the way they plated it, I mean, I liked that it came out of this big piece of wood, and it had, it was like you saw a little chocolate sauce on, kind of.
Which I'm gonna disagree with you, because the chocolate sauce, it wasn't particularly good chocolate sauce, and it was just like there, and then you kind of did these little stripes of it, and then I'm gonna say this to you.
Okay, go ahead, tell me,
say it.
I'm saying that was okay. I don't mind that. As long as you don't
better be awesome chocolate sauce.
Yeah, but I didn't want it really poured over the churro, which it was. And I didn't really like that. So don't pour it over the churro. You can decorate the plate, make it look a little nice. And that's fine. If somebody chooses to dip into the chocolate, so be it. But the part that threw me off beyond belief, it threw all of us off, the kids especially, were these little spots. And they looked like ketchup. Oh, God. And so the kids are like, what is that?
What the hell is
Why
this ketchup?
Why is there ketchup
Because
on the
you know what?
plate?
That strawberry puree is the same consistency and color as ketchup.
Yeah. It really looked red, like ketchup.
And in fact, I put my finger in it to taste it.
Me too.
To find out if it was ketchup.
Me too. I did the same.
Like ketchup.
Yeah. But it wasn't ketchup, but it looked like ketchup, so it really threw us off. We're like, ooh, no. Don't do that.
What the hell are we going to do with ketchup on the here?
Yeah.
Right? So I want to say this to you. Maderos, man. Okay, I understand the pricing. The regular menu pricing, I understand it. You have to pay for your place. The spot you are in is a premium spot, okay? And you've decorated it nicely. It looks like something like a little bit of an urban Mexico City kind of place with big plants, and there's concrete work, and there's stone and the big windows.
I didn't understand the super duper low tables.
Listen, that's a whole different area. That's more of like they had an area that was off to the side with these kind of booths and these very low tables. And I get if you're having a cocktail, you're gonna go out and you're gonna sit, more of a sitting place, like if you're in a lounge for cocktails, I get it. But the tables were really, really low, but you're really not eating off of these babies,
right? So if you wanted to have an appetizer, like let's say you ordered a guacamole, it would be really stupid.
It would be hard to
your
reach.
Foot, you literally want to put your foot on this thing.
You do. It's a footstool.
Yeah,
it was a footstool you're putting food on.
So you're not going to want to put food on.
No. And I don't want to be too picky, okay? Which I am, right? You know it. Everybody knows. If you've listened to this show, you know I am. But you know what? I want to say this to you. 4 inches, 3 inches can make a big difference in the height of a table. You know what I mean? And it's the difference between being able to reach your food and having to lean over to grab your food and possibly fall off your chair.
The thing was not more than 10 inches off
God,
the floor.
yeah, it was low.
It was
really low.
Like 10 inches.
We actually
probably.
wanted. I mean, look, from the booths, they were like yellow, and the tables were made of this like a wood stump, and then they had these little chairs. I wanted to sit there. We actually went over there. We went over there. We sat down, and we're like, wait a second, those tables are really low. And I know it sounds dumb. People are like, oh, come on, it's a chair. With the table? What's the big deal? Unfortunately, when your table's so low, you're sitting there having to enjoy a cocktail. You have to lean way over to put your cocktail down, or you have to grab. You want to get a chip? Hey, excuse me, could you grab me one of those chips? No, you don't want that. So we moved to another table, and the table was fine.
Yeah,
but,
but if hey guys, just honestly, the table itself was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Wood table. Stick something underneath.
Just
I
don't know, phone books, old phone books, maybe a brick. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Bring it up a foot.
I don't want to get into the ambiance and the decor. I'm not Jeff Lewis. Okay, but we're here to talk about food. So when it comes to the food, I will say this to you: you guys are very close to perfection. To me,
you're close.
You're very, very, very close. And you know what? You don't have to listen to me. Who am I? But I will say this to you. In my opinion, I've worked in food. I've eaten a lot of food. You look at my belly. These little changes would be. I mean, look, the churro was so good. Leave it alone. Okay, you don't take a beautiful piece of bluefin tuna and cover it in ketchup. You don't. Mm-hmm. It's just it hurts it. So. In this case, take the beautiful churro that you made and let people enjoy it. Don't cover it in any junk. Don't put sauce on it. Don't put sauce in it. Just put the sauce on the side and let people adjust it as they want. I guarantee you, the response will be better. Okay, so the churro was good. Awesome. It could have been better. The guacamole was fantastic. I keep repeating that. I know it was worth it. The presentation, the flavors were great.
Great.
The soup is, man, I could eat a bucket of those babies.
The ceviche, please.
Ceviche.
Back off on the shrimp.
Yeah, just, the shrimp. Either that, I don't know the answer to this. Okay? Leave it.
Do they just need to marinate?
Marinate it more time. Okay. Season it a little better. Maybe use the whitefish. I don't know. But it's in there. It's something in there.
Chips and salsa, awesome.
Yeah, the salsa.
I could use more spice, but he brought us a little spicy chili
kick
on
it up.
the side.
Yeah, that was something else. That was some kind of like, that was pretty spicy.
Yeah,
it was pretty spicy. But yeah, you ask for that. If you want a spice, ask that. Okay, let's end with one thing: the margaritas.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now wait. The reason why we bring them up is because we are what they call margarita aficionados. We've had some margaritas that are made with nothing but love. Okay, and for me, the best margaritas you're ever going to have are going to be in a clean glass. They're going to be starting off with ice. They're gonna be rimmed with tahini or salt, and they're going to be used with simple ingredients. And I've had as simple ingredients as they have is the best the freshest lime juice you can get your hands on. Maybe triple sec if you have to. What's the agave? Agave is nectar, yeah. Agave nectar, and then a top quality tequila. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go with I don't know, the most expensive one, but you definitely want to put something that tastes good. Okay, and if you do that, that's all you need to do. Now we asked about the margaritas. They said they were good. They were good. Were they great? No. I think they do use some fresh lime juice. Mm-hmm. They just don't use all lime juice. It tastes to me like there's sweet and sour from a gun and some lime juice. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
If you go to Puesto, you're gonna get all lime juice, a touch of agave, and you're gonna get a good quality tequila. And that's all you need for a margarita, in my opinion. But you know what? Everybody likes something different. I mean, I remember when I was young.
Well, the guy.
When I was young, I used to love drinking the Mr. T's sweet and sour right out of a plastic bottle. I didn't know any better. You put Mr. T's with some Cuervo Gold and some of that cheapo sweet and sour in a blender with some ice and rim it with some salt. There's a party is on. Okay, but after tasting something that's premium, yeah, it tastes better if you use nothing but good stuff.
Yeah, and they said all of the juices there are fresh. They even make and we didn't try everything, but they had like passion fruit. They have guava. They supposedly have all fresh juices.
Yeah,
we didn't try them.
I'll differ. I'll differ on the margaritas.
He did mention one thing that sounded good to me, which was like he said they take the watermelon and they juice that
With
and then they
passion fruit.
freeze they turn it into a cube, a watermelon cube, and
But
mix it in
it
one
had-
of the margaritas. We didn't do it.
Only
though.
part I don't like is the
Guava.
Is the guava. Now, guava's great, but I am a fan of what they call pineapple guava. It's a green guava with a kind of a yellow interior. The most typical guava, even the drinks they use, they're the yellow guava with the pink interior, and those to me are awful. And a lot of people like them.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people like them. I don't care for myself either.
All I remember was going to my abuelita's house and walking in there, and she had a bowl of those babies on the kitchen table. It has this strange smell to me. I mean, foreign from the aliens, man. The aliens came down from the planet and dropped them off.
Oh my
They're
God.
just funky.
I remember that same thing. I would go to my grandma's house when she had fresh coffee, and I couldn't stand it. It stunk so bad.
And it just permeates the whole kitchen. It smells like
the house, man. The house, because you're like, geez,
it's almost like I don't know, man. Like what is it? Cotton candy and sweat socks. It's just Jesus. It's just terrible. So, anyways, look, Maderos. You know what? I'll tell you this right now. You are doing a unique service for that region. Okay, you are doing something that not many places are doing, if any, around your area. Now, look, I remember I had a friend of mine that would tell me all the time he'd have this steak, and he'd eat this steak at a bowling alley in Tucson, Arizona, and say, this isn't as good as that filet mignon I had one time at this special restaurant, cost 10 times more in Mexico. I'm like, oh, dude, come on. You can't compare them. You can't compare them. So you can't compare this to a lot of places, but I'll tell you, for this area, I don't know how many miles. I can't tell how many what the radius would be, but 10 miles. I don't know if they're doing anything like this for 10 miles or more. Okay, so if you want Mexican food,
and a good selection of tequila.
Absolutely. Oh, I think they said they had 80 selections of tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's nice about Brian? Brian said, you know what? We're going to have the biggest selection in San Diego.
That's what they want.
Yeah. No, he said to me though, I want to have the biggest selection in the world. I was like, I mean, everybody's got to have an aspiration. All right. So, look, if you're in San Diego in the middle part, is that
Del
middle?
Mar. Yeah.
Is that middle?
Yeah.
Because it's not south, it's not north, it's middle.
Coastal San Diego.
Middle coast.
Middle
It's not even. Yeah. If you're in the Carmel Valley, Poway, Rancho Bernardo,
yeah, you can shoot on
Del Mar.
Shoot over it on the 56.
A lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go. Okay. Look, if you're looking for an upscale experience, nice night. You want to have the ability to be able to have some very decent, very quality Mexican food, and you want to be able to stop off, maybe to walk down the street, walk just over there, Starbucks. You want to go shopping. There's a market right there. You want to maybe stop over and have a cocktail across the street. Maybe you want to, I don't know. Maybe you want to go to the gym.
There's a gym right there.
Maybe pick up a set of pick up a new bathing suit. There's a bathing suit store right there. You want to go for a what? I don't know, some pullover for the beach. It's all right there. Mm-hmm. It's a shopping I don't know, on part San Marino. What is that? What kind of environment is that? It's like little Palm Springs. There's all kinds of businesses in there. All kinds. Restaurants, gym, shoppings for clothes. There's coffee shops and dessert shops. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's all right there. It's a very unique little place. So, Maderos, I salute you. You're doing a fine effort. Can you be better? Sure, everybody can be better. Even this podcast. A Grubcast. Even this Grubcast can be better. You know what? Go there. Try Maderos. If you want a good Mexican food experience, upscale, go there. Try it. Tell us what you think. We want to know. We had a good experience. We hope you do too. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, now YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. Check us out. Tell us what you think. Until then, until our next show, we'll see you again. Be nice to each other.